What is the crack, everyone? B2B Sports back again, episode 4 of season 3, I think. Sam is here, as always.
As always.
Standard crack. We'll probably start this pod with a bit of NFL chat because last Sunday we went to watch Minnesota Vikings versus New Orleans Saints at Tottenham Stadium. I finally made it after
Finally.
debacle, mate. Shambles. I had COVID, so I couldn't make it, but there was no way I was missing my team, the Vikings play. Madness. What a game. The Vikings won 28-25. Double doink. Uh,
Oh,
oh,
honestly, I can't. That's such a mad way to end the game there because I thought it was going to overtime.
it was insane. I've never in my life of watching NFL seen a double doink. So off one crossbar and then onto the sort of bottom bar, if you
Yeah,
will. Um, and it bounced out. That would have taken it to overtime. I actually celebrated that like a
you
touchdown,
did.
finish touchdown. I was
You did.
screaming. Yeah,
Everyone in the stadium was just shocked.
mate. Yeah, it was. To be fair, there was quite a lot of New Orleans fans there. To be fair, in the
I would
stadium.
say most of them were. I mean, it was a home game technically for New Orleans, but because it's international, you think there's going to be quite a few of everyone. But I think most people supported the Saints. They were the loudest, I think.
Yeah, yeah, they were the loud. Well, in our section, they were. There was a couple of SKOL chants trying to get going, but nothing too crazy.
They weren't very good, to be fair. The chants.
Wow. Okay.
The skull chant. No, I like the skull chant, but I mean, at the stadium, they didn't do it very well.
Nothing in comparison to Minnesota. No, nothing in
No,
comparison to that. But how do you find the game? How do you find the day? Was it as a neutral?
it was a very very slow start. The first half was a bit slow.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, it took a while to get going. I mean, Minnesota were moving up the field. I think they scored a touchdown quite early on,
yeah.
um, and then it kind of went a bit back and forth. Um, some field goals.
A lot of field goals.
Yeah, it was a bit underwhelming the first half for me. I really enjoyed it still, but as a game, it was a bit underwhelming.
No,
Second half, it kind of kicked off a bit.
mm,
Saints came back into it, roaring back into it. It was definitely touch and go for a bit. I think Minnesota missed an extra point. I think at one point,
Joseph.
which meant the Saints only had to score a touchdown. And yeah, it was a big one
He was good.
at the end, and it was a tense finish, which I'm glad. I mean, there's 2 years in a row that the game's been decided by a last second kick, so
Yeah, definitely, man. It's
it's
a
quite
really,
exciting.
really, really good game. Good food as well beforehand in the food zone bit as well. Really
Oh
enjoyed
yeah,
but yeah, and then
you
we
scraping the coleslaw off your burger.
yeah, it was a bit too hot for me, man. It was Chipotle cold sauce. I know. It's a bit too. If anyone knows me, I don't do spice, mate. So medium chicken at Nando's is all I do. So yeah.
Jesus.
But yeah, again, going back over the game, we saw good Kirk and then we saw bad Kirk. So he's classic
Yes.
Kirk Cousins. Um, he threw a pick to the Honey Badger, and then he threw a 50-yard dime to Jefferson to basically get us the game winning field goal, if you like.
Yeah.
Um, but he's 3-1. Vikings are 3-1. Can't complain.
No.
I'll
What
take
you're top of your division, aren't you?
that division, yeah. Only I think the Packers have got the same record, but it's done on head to head. So because we beat Packers in the first game,
Yeah.
we go
Yeah.
top.
The Packers are 3-1.
Um, so and then also going linking to the Packers, they're playing in the UK this week. They're playing the Giants,
Yeah.
which I saw a mad stat. I think it's the first time in 32 London games that there's going to be two teams with winning records playing each.
Yeah. And they
How
both got winning records, which is ridiculous. I mean, obviously the Jags have played many times, but in order to have never to have 2 teams that have winning records is quite special.
mm,
Um, it's a bit of a mad stat when you think every year is different. for every team. Like Dolphins could be playing really well this year. They were 3-0.
Yeah,
And then, but last year obviously they were 0-5 when they.
that's mad to think. And they were one of the worst teams when you went to watch them in the league. They were,
Honestly, I think that was the last game because they were 0. I think they ended up 0-6 after that game. I think, and then they went on a mad run and won like 7 in a row.
yeah, 7 or 8 in a row, and they nearly made
Yeah,
the playoffs. I think they only
yeah.
just won a couple of games or one game, something like that.
So yeah, it was. We were, I think it can be a turning point for a team, and maybe this year Vikings won it in London and we'll lose every game from now on.
Sound absolutely not, mate. The whole team's buzzing, man. Kirk was pictured on the plane back. He put Christian Darishaw's chain on, and he was like spinning one. He was like spinning it. It was like the most polar opposite thing. Kirk
Yeah,
Cousins, the most dad figure, and a chain. So yeah, it was quite cool to see some of these videos, and the morale from the team is decent. A lot different to last year, man. And going
yeah,
back to like the Mike Zimmer era, I feel like we would have lost those games. Like that game last week, we'd have lost that. I know it boiled down to luck.
yeah.
No, things just weren't going for us in the last couple of years of the Zimmer era, man. And we were losing those close games.
Mm.
So,
Yeah, yeah, you are winning the close games a bit more now.
mm.
Especially like I mean against was it the Lions last week
Yeah,
and
yeah,
just about scraped that win, but got the win in the end. So yeah, you're on the right side of those results now, which is hopefully good going forward.
did you watch much of the Patriots game against the Packers? You're,
I didn't.
you're, probably, mate, you're getting an early train next day. Yeah.
I had to be up at 5 o'clock in the morning, so I went to bed relatively early when we got back from the NFL. But I didn't watch it, but you did text me saying that obviously we didn't have Mac Jones starting because of his ankle. So we had Brian Hoyer in, and about 20 minutes in, he gets injured and he's out. So we had, was it Bailey Zapp?
Bailey Zappi, whatever his name is.
Bailey Zappi, which is a quality name. And to be fair to him, he had a very good game. For his first game as playing against the Packers, like he was solid. Took it over to overtime. So yeah, I was quite happy. But he might become our second string.
And this is what I kind of like because he's only a rookie as well, and you see a lot of times when the starting quarterback or in this case the second string quarterback goes off, their
Yeah,
third string is brought on and they're limited to what they can do. It's
yeah,
chucked down to the tight end as a screenplay or just to the slot wide receiver. It's nothing big, but he was throwing bombs, man.
yeah,
He was allowed to throw balls.
yeah. I think when you get your third string in, and you got to give him a few plays to kind of just see how it goes. And I think Bill Belichick normally is quite reserved, and even with when we had Tom Brady, didn't throw the ball tons. But yeah, he really gave credit to him and gave him a shot. And I think it would instill confidence in him that his first game he managed to get to overtime with
Yeah,
Packers.
they were lucky.
Two QBs down.
Yeah.
I mean, they only won by a field goal, I think, in the end. So it was promising. I mean, we're now 1-3, so that's not promising. I mean, we've had a pretty difficult start to the season. We've had obviously who do we have? We had Dolphins, I think, first. We've had the Ravens already. We've had the Packers. Hopefully, I can't remember who we have next week. I'll have to have a look. But I'm hoping we get some good results coming our way because I think
it depends how long Mac Jones is out for, doesn't it? I know it's not. It's not like serious career ending, but they need to get him back as soon as possible, really, to have the best chance at going a little bit of a run.
I mean, we have the Lions this weekend.
The Lions,
who are somehow the best and worst team in the NFL. They lead the league in points, and they lead the league in points against.
Yeah.
Which is quite something, to be fair.
Mate, that Seahawks game was
ridiculous.
Game and a half, mate, and it got a score. It was a scoregami as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that game was just a complete shootout.
Which I
hold on again.
Geno Smith was sick, yeah, but I'm liking the Lions. I mean, somehow they're putting up the biggest numbers every week, but I think they're 2-2.
No,
So
actually,
it's quite
they could be 1-3. I feel like
maybe.
I feel like they've got a losing record, which is pretty unfortunate for the way they're playing.
Yeah,
Um,
they are 1-3,
yeah,
which
really,
is ridiculous. And
really,
they
really.
scored so many points.
Yeah.
Um, so I see it being a high scoring game this weekend. So
Yeah, imagine so. Imagine so. I know we talked a little bit about it when we met up at the NFL, but what do you think on the whole Tua incident? And for those of you that don't know, that Tua, the quarterback for the Miami Dolphins, he had quite a bad concussion. I don't know who it was against in week three.
it was against the Bills.
Yeah, yeah.
Bills first,
Bills first, and
and
then
then it was the Rams. I think no,
Rams.
it wasn't the Rams. I'm trying to think who it was. I'm not going to remember now.
Right? No, I can't remember. I can't remember, but
Oh yeah, it might have been the Ravens.
it might have been the
Yeah,
Ravens.
that's a good shout.
Anyway, yeah, for those of you who don't know, yeah, concussed in the first game, and they were playing on Thursday night, so it was a short week for them. And for some reason, I don't know how he cleared concussion protocols and was allowed to play 5 days later, and he suffered another concussion. It looked horrific, man. The way he fell, and the way how his body reacted after he hit the ground was not
Yeah,
at all. Um, so yeah, what are your thoughts on it, and how on earth was he allowed to play that second game? Like, what happened?
I don't know. I mean, what we've been told about that first game, where he got up, but then he stumbled and fell down again.
Yeah,
We were told that that was because of back strain, or he had like back spasms, which I mean, I don't really see that being that true. It's difficult to see back spasms making you kind of crumble to the floor just after getting up. Um, so I'm surprised. I'm very surprised he was able to go back into that game. Concussion protocol is normally pretty good, especially in the NFL. It's gotten a
mm.
lot better. So the fact he was able to go back into the game was weird. I mean, they came away with a win against the Bills, I think. And then obviously he was put into start um, on the next Sunday, on Thursday, sorry, which people thought was weird, but not that weird because he was obviously allowed back in the last game. So they thought, well, that would make sense if he didn't have a concussion to be playing this week. And then he was slammed pretty hard into the ground, getting sacked, and yeah, it did not look good. He became very rigid in his fingers and kind of had quite heavy concussion symptoms. It looked like he was knocked out. He was rigid. He didn't move. So yeah, it was very worrying.
Hasn't the
Um,
doctor been sacked? The
yeah, so it wasn't a team doctor. Apparently, it was an outside doctor who apparently looked over him and gave him the all clear. And obviously, we'll never get probably the whole story about that, what's going on, because obviously these doctors are put in a very pressured situation where your starting quarterback goes down,
mm,
could be out for multiple games. Everyone's got pressure on you to get them ready for next week, wants to put them out straight away back on the field. So sometimes there can be a lot of pressure from up above to say they're ready when they're not quite. But then again, if he has cleared him and the Dolphins have been like, that was your decision. We put that fully on you. If he couldn't play, we wouldn't have played him, which has been their stance, and their coach has said we would follow concussion protocols. We just went with what they said. So it's difficult to say who's at the most fault,
mm,
but most of all is just hoping that he's okay and he
yeah,
can continue, because those kind of head injuries can have long lasting effects.
huge damage, and I feel like this happens a lot more in the NFL than actually is made apparent, like through the
Probably.
media. Like, this is a huge case. Quarterbacks get more coverage anyway, but I feel like if you were to ask any player in the NFL squad, have you played through concussion? They'd probably say yes. Like,
Yeah,
and it shouldn't be the case, but like you said, there is pressure from above and pressure to play their star players all the time, and it is a
yeah,
real problem in the NFL. And it only takes a case like this where a player gets hit again the next game for it to be a huge deal. So I definitely
yeah.
think that the NFL has a huge problem still in the concussion protocols, and that even though they've clamped down on it, even though there's been a lot of media coverage on it before, I still think they've got a lot of work to do.
Oh,
And
definitely.
yeah, it just takes just a moment like this for it to all blow up again.
Yeah, I think it's difficult. I mean, obviously, it's a very heavily contact sport, and there's only so much you can do at the end of the day.
Mm,
The sport has obviously gotten a lot less violent than it used to be, like in the old days, and a lot more safety conscious. But again, I think it's probably at its safest. But then, obviously, these protocols need to be followed properly
yeah,
and done better in order to have an actual effect.
yeah. Talking about the Ravens, have you seen the mad stat on them that they've only so they're 2-2, the record at the minute, and in their two losses, they've only trailed for 14 seconds.
What?
So,
I suppose with the Bills, they lost on a last second field goal.
and I think they lost again in the last second to no, did they win it against Dolphins? But whoever the second loss was, they lost in the last minute again. So they've only trailed for 14 seconds in both of their losses, which is
That's mad.
pretty unlucky.
You'd be gutted, wouldn't you?
Actually would.
Every time. Oh God.
And then finally on the NFL front, did you hear about the Broncos game last night? They played in Thursday night. They
Against
played.
the Colts,
Yeah,
the worst game ever.
it was literally the worst game. I think it finished 12-9 or something like that.
12-9. It was 12. It went to overtime at 9-all.
And again, Russell Wilson's come under some stick because he was on the goal line. I think it was like fourth and goal, and they didn't run it. They decided to throw it again, which give him memories of that Seahawks New England
Yeah.
Patriots game. So yeah, he's come under a bit of flack, and they've not had the best start. I think they're 2-3 now in week 5, and I think in his post interview they lost the game. It was one of the worst games they've ever played, and he still did his cringy little Broncos catchphrase. It's like Broncos,
Let's ride. Let's
Broncos,
ride.
bad, yeah. What are you doing, man? And he's come under a bit of fire because he had big expectations on him at Denver.
Well, I don't understand what's going wrong because we all know what he can do. He did it for so many years with Seattle, and like even recently doing it with Seattle, he was kind of the main reason they won games.
mm,
And to see him go to the Broncos and kind of be a shell of his former self in a way, he's not throwing the clever passes. He's not scrambling as much as he used to. It seems very un-Russell Wilson the way he's playing.
yeah,
And I don't know what it is. I mean, if it's a new city, new people, but somebody of Russell Wilson's caliber, you'd think would be able to fit in quite nicely.
mm,
It is a bit of a shock to see him struggle.
struggle.
But he is becoming his own meme
He is.
every single week. He's doing something different every week, and it's hilarious.
And if for those of you that follow good football, one of the presenters, I think his name is Kyle Brandt. He absolutely slated Wilson, man. Literally slated him, saying that him and Sierra think they're the Beyonce and Jay-Z, and
To be fair, they do.
it was brutal. So yeah, Russell Wilson's got some making up to do. He's got some work to do in the rest of the season for him to sort of overcome this horrific game. But that's it in the NFL this week. Obviously, we look forward to this weekend's games. The Vikings have the Bears.
I've got one more news to share.
Oh, go on then. Go on then. Tom.
Tom Brady. So obviously he retired.
Yep.
Everyone thought it was done. Best quarterback of all time is retired. He's gone. Lovely stuff. He can go spend time with his family. It's what he wanted to do. He's always talking about his kids. And he comes back and everyone's a bit not hugely surprised, but still a bit of a surprise. And don't really hear anything from Giselle. And apparently, during training camp, he had I think 12 days off in a row,
Yeah, he had personal leave, didn't he, in training camp?
personal leave, and yeah, apparently now they're filing for divorce.
Mad.
That's the rumor, which is a bit mad. I can understand. Like, you can understand her view if she thinks he's retiring, coming, being more of a family man. Obviously, he's done this for what, 23 years now.
She's
It's
she's
a long time.
she's given up a lot of her life, man.
Yeah. And like she was, I think, the highest paid model at one point. And she's been raising her kids, and yeah, I think she seemed done with it.
she definitely got the don't worry, I'm retiring. I'll be with you and the kids. And then he's done it
Yeah.
to her, and then she's gone, no, I'm not having this.
Yeah.
No way.
Which I think is fair play.
Fair enough
He,
reason. Fair enough reason.
when he did the press conference and they were asking him like why you've been off for 12 days, and he was like personal reasons. He looked awful. He looked like he hadn't slept in about 2 weeks.
He looked gaunt, man, in the cheek.
He
Like,
did.
like ill. Like, really ill.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a bit of shocking news. Yeah,
The memes are flying though, Sam. The memes are flying. Like,
don't stay in the NFL.
yeah, he's gonna play until he's about 65 now. That's
Yeah,
Giselle.
exactly. He can go as long as he wants now. That's just it. It's just mad. They were kind of like a power couple as well.
I think that's a stinker, to be fair. I think that's a
It
stinker.
is.
There's no more. You don't need to accomplish anymore. You're already the greatest of all time.
Yeah,
And
he doesn't need. And also, his last season with the Bucks was a good season.
yeah, it was one of his best passing seasons ever, I think.
Yeah, he had the most passing yards. He really didn't need to come back, and the start of the season hasn't gone particularly well. I don't. I don't think he's thrown many touchdowns. More than I don't think he's thrown more than five.
No, like, I think
Um,
what's his name? Cole Beasley's just pulled a retirement out of nowhere.
yeah,
Not got Gronk this year. I think he's struggling for wide receivers. And now people are saying, dude, you lost Giselle just to get beat in the wild card by, like, I don't know, Vikings or something. I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, and I mean, obviously all the best to both of them and the kids, and hopefully everything works out. But it is a bit of a mad one,
Yeah, mad one. Yeah.
and obviously he's had a stinker. If that is the reason they're getting a divorce, he's had a stinker there.
He's a stinker, absolutely stinker. But yeah, that's NFL. Obviously, Vikings got Chicago at home, so hopefully you'll win there. And yeah, we'll see what happens, mate. Whilst we're at the NFL, there was another big sporting event going on, which Sam was heavily had his eye on. Good job he was at the NFL, because if he was at home watching this game, I think he'd thrown his phone out the window.
Probably.
City 6, United 3. What on earth happened there?
I mean, we managed to score three. I know. How surprising is that?
1 at one point, I thought that was it, and then you got two
Yeah.
back.
Honestly, two quick ones. I've not even watched the replay. I can't be asked to watch Haaland and Foden just rip us apart. Yeah, I mean, Haaland again, unstoppable. He's ridiculous. He does seem like that missing link. And I know they had like Aguero was great for them, but this is something else at the moment.
This is like, we've not seen this for a while. Obviously, Messi and Ronaldo have in
I
recent
don't
years.
I don't think we've ever seen it in the Premier League though.
Not in the Premier League. No, that's right. That's right. In the
So
Premier
I
League,
don't think it's nothing like it. I mean, he scored 14 goals in what, like 7 games? It's just disgusting. And the fact that I think if he goes at the rate he does now and does the same for the next 4 years, he'll be the top goal scorer in Premier League history. He'll be Alan Shearer's record.
I think if he plays every game, I think he's scheduled to get 71 Premier League goals this year. 71, which is astronomical. Whether he won't get that. Obviously, he's got to slow down at some point, but he knows, man. He's flipping royal.
Yeah, and also Pep keeps going on about like that he will be rotated with was it Alvarez, and so but he's playing every game so far. I just know that the one game he doesn't play is when I triple captain him on fantasy.
Yeah,
Like every time I'm like, is he actually going to play? He plays every week. He plays every Champions League
I'm
game.
seeing that man as well.
So yeah,
This is
he's
it,
ironic.
this is it. Like he scored 2 goals in the first half, didn't he? I think he just took him off at half time because he's like, just
Yeah, there's no need.
game's done. I saw something so funny on Twitter, and it was like, because Haaland's not going to the World Cup this year, every team in the World Cup at one stage can use Haaland once. You can call him in.
Yeah,
It's like the WWE Royal Rumble, and so he's like running into the ring.
I think that's a great idea. I mean, knowing England, we'd stick him in defence and not do anything with him.
Probably under Southgate.
But I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, he's on an absolute tear, and like Sam said, we've not seen anything like this in the Premier League for forever, really, in my lifetime. And it's nice to see Phil Foden popping up with another hat trick as well. To be fair, nothing nice to see him.
Yeah, surprising.
Talent. Chelsea got a nice last-minute win last weekend against Palace. Conor Gallagher with a worldy goal, which was nice to see. Then there was that 3-3 Brighton Liverpool game, which
Yeah.
was madness. Trent's defending is come under question again.
To be fair, a few of them were under question there because a few of them stood still. But yeah, I mean, Trent's coming under question for something we already knew he was bad at. I don't understand.
Yeah.
This isn't new information. I understand that Liverpool are used to winning at the moment and not conceding that many, but Trent's never been the reason they've defended well. He's
You're
never
right.
been the reason they've attacked well.
And Carl Walker has got injured, hasn't he? He's had surgery on, I think it was his groin. So that does leave the door open for Trent now. Because to be fair, I didn't see Trent in the squad, man. I did not see him in that World Cup squad. Like Maguire, Jesus Christ, Maguire. Southgate likes James. He preferred James. He does like Walker as well. And Trippier can play in a back on the left-hand side if required. So it weren't looking good for Trent. But now this is like sort of open the door for him.
He probably will come in for Walker there.
Yeah.
I mean, but again, I don't know if he'll play that much. But also, I think it would be silly to keep him on the bench at the World Cup. But I would bring him on in midfield.
Yeah.
Because I think that plays to his strength. He doesn't have to defend as much. And yeah, we'll look even better going forward. So I think that could be a way we use him then.
Yeah, or in a back five because he has got a little bit of protection behind him. Whereas at Liverpool they play a back four, don't they? So he doesn't have that protection. So when he just stands still and the ball comes across, he's not got that extra centre back behind him. But yeah, also Leicester, after we basically criticised Leicester last week,
ripped into Leicester,
ripped into their structure and management system, how it's all going. They hit 4 past Southampton, 4-0. Maddison is back. Is he in with a shout at England as well? Or Madders?
I feel like Maddison's been not unfairly, but he's been missed out for England. I think he would do very well in the team. I understand why he's picking. I think we've got too many in that position. We've obviously got Foden, Rice. Henderson's always going to play.
Out in Saka in that winger.
Exactly, we've got a few too many, and he's not at the right club. If he was at Arsenal, something like that, he would be in the England squad, no doubt. I think this one is definitely down to his club form, not so much his personal form for them, but the fact that Leicester are not playing well doesn't make it look like he's playing well.
No,
but I think if any year it was going to be, it would have been a previous one, probably for the Euros. But unfortunately, it's just not turned around well for him.
So here's the thing: City have Southampton at the weekend. Southampton have been on the past few seasons. They've been on the receiving end of absolute drubbings, mate. So a couple of 9-0 losses in there.
Yeah.
Leicester have just beaten 4-0. How many goals Is Man City scoring past Southampton a week?
And also, do I triple captain Haaland because of it?
That is the
I
question.
think
Do you
I
wait
don't
until
know.
double game weeks though? That's the thing. Like, I'm trying to hold out, but I don't know. You got games like this where it's
Oh,
serious.
that's true. I forgot about the double game weeks. No, I'm going to keep it
Yeah,
and just captain him because that'll keep me steady.
yeah.
In the double game weeks, Pep does normally move them around a lot, but he
Mm,
hasn't moved Haaland around a lot. So
that is the question.
that
Like,
is the question.
a
Let's see that option.
couple of other football news around sort of England and around Europe. We talked about Serie A last week, so I thought I'd mention them again. Roma come from behind and beat Inter 2-1. Chris
Ooh,
Smalling with the header of all people
what?
the game for him.
Where's he coming from?
Again, this game wasn't without a bit of Mourinho chaos. He was banned from the game. I think you got a red card in the last game, whatever. So he was parked a camper van or his private minibus outside the stadium, and he was watching it in his TV, and he was putting on Instagram stories, watching the game. And they obviously, when they won the last minute, he went mental and he was celebrating with his driver and everything. So yeah, he's just absolute he's absolutely comical. Monza, who we mentioned last week, getting their first win. They've smashed 3 past Sampdoria. Um,
Wow,
that's their second win now in Serie A
they're on a roll.
on a roll. And now I think the gap tightens, so it's 8 points between first and 10th now. Mental scenes. Napoli are in good form at the minute and showed that in Champions League, so leading, but not by much. I think Atalanta is still close second. Inter in ninth.
Oh,
Mad.
that was
I
a good one.
think it's Milan Juve this weekend, so another game to keep an eye out on. Cobblers, mentioned Cobblers a couple of times last year. They're third in League Two. I don't know if you kept an eye on Sam Hoskins. He was on a tear, an absolute tear. I think he was on par with Haaland a couple of weeks back. I think he'd scored like
Really?
8 goals. I think Haaland's overtook him a little bit, but he was like the second in form striker in the whole English football league. So it's just behind Haaland. So shout out to Sam Hoskins from the old Cobblers. And then we had some Champions League games this week. Chelsea won against Milan 3-0, which I was very happy with, to be honest.
Yeah, I was surprising it was that by that much of a margin. But yeah,
Was
played
it?
well.
What happened to United? I heard they were a little bit.
Oh, we won. We won 3-2. What are you talking about?
The who?
To a team.
I don't know what they're called. Omaleo or something.
Obelisk United.
Obelisk. Yeah, great. But yeah, that was a little bit of a touch and go moment for United. But as you said,
Yeah, it's fine.
I'll give you it. They won the game.
We were 3-1 up in like the 85th minute, so we were cruising, and then just wanted a bit of excitement at the end. So that's how we did it.
Fair play. Right, we're back. A little 24-hour break, but we're back.
My fault. I just didn't see on his text.
I had a Chinese break.
I mean, have a nice little break in between the minutes. Yeah, I just had a sleep break for sleep and go break.
I think we have left it was we were trying to guess how many goals Southampton would score. Southampton, Jesus Christ, Southampton is scoring loads past Man City. Other way around, how many goals Man City would score past Southampton? We found out the answer. It was 4. Not as many as I'd actually hoped.
Yeah.
I was hoping for a 9-0.
No, not quite.
Not quite.
Yeah, but Haaland scores again.
Again, man. Again, it's just unreal, man. He left it until about the second half this time. So give him that.
He did.
Yeah.
Gave everyone else a chance. Like Cancelo scored.
Yeah.
Foden, I think, again. And I can't remember who the other one was, but yeah, they had a pretty easy time with it.
My fantasy team's looking pretty healthy so far this week, so I'll take that.
Yeah, same.
About 40 odd points, I think. So,
although Sterling just didn't play, so
yeah, he dropped loads of players. I know we've got a big game again. We're away in Milan. for the Champions League on Tuesday, so I think he's resting a lot of those players. So we pretty much played a second string team today against Wolves. Got the 3-0 win, so I'll take that all day long. And also on a bit of a tangent, Milan winning 2-0 against Juve. So I know we mentioned that in the
Fez.
podcast.
That's a bit surprising.
Yeah, it's surprising.
Yeah.
So I'll take
didn't see that coming at all.
But yeah, F1. We were just talking about it just before we started recording again. Qualifying. Me and my girlfriend watched the qualifying, a replay of it this morning. Verstappen did take pole, and he's only a race win and fastest lap away from winning the title, I think, this week in Japan. But there was a little bit of controversy, wasn't there, Sam? He was close to getting a penalty after qualifying.
Yeah. Did he? I didn't see it. I know it was something with Norris or something.
Yeah, so Norris was just about to go on a push lap. He was just about to go in qualifying, and Verstappen was going slowly round sort of just after a corner, and he was warming his tires up, and he like sort of skidded. His back end like went, and he nearly took Norris out. It was so close. It was proper close. But he nearly went right into Norris, and Norris had to go right off the track. But yeah, it's a little bit of a close call. And I know
I'm surprised it didn't get pulled up.
Yeah, some rival teams are going like, hang on, like, come on, like,
yeah,
Red Bull fix all over again.
Yeah, literally.
There's been a couple of shouts for that this year.
Yeah, well, we'll see on Monday with how because obviously the reports didn't come out. The financial reports didn't come out on Wednesday; they were postponed. So hopefully on Monday we'll actually see what's happening, and we'll find out it's actually been Mercedes all along.
What can you imagine? What do you reckon? What do you reckon? Do you reckon Red Bull are guilty, or do you reckon it's going to be?
I'd be surprised if, because Christian Horner's come up many times and said that they're within the rules. So they obviously think they're within the rules pretty well. And they're the only team that really has to defend themselves because they're in the crossfire.
Yes.
No other team has really, I think, come forward and said anything much about it. I don't even think Aston Martin have said much about it, even though they're one of the other rumoured ones. So hopefully we get to know what it is. And yeah, I think it'll be funny if it turns out Mercedes did something bad. But I think at the end of the day, it's probably going to be like Aston Martin and Haas.
Do you reckon? So obviously, there's a huge rumour that Red Bull are one of the teams, but I think from the reports that one team has breached it quite severely and another team's done like a minor breach of the cap. I don't know how true that is. They'll come out obviously in the report. But Red Bull are the team have rumoured to have gone heavily over the cap, and then another team. But like you said, it would be, imagine if it's like Mercedes. Can you imagine? That would be so, like, all the fingers are pointing at Red Bull right now. But we shall see. It'll be interesting to see what the punishment.
Exactly.
Like, what is the punishment going to be? Because they can't undo what's already happened. Like, what? Like, they can't take.
I don't know. I mean, I think technically in this case they can.
Would they though?
Technically,
would they do it? That's
the thing. Would they? Because I think there's a set of rules for if you're, I think, under 5% over and over 5% over, and I think you don't have to be penalised all of these ways, but you could be a few of them, and some of them are like constructors' points, drivers' championship points, and stuff like that. So I don't know. It will be interesting. And especially see what kind of punishment it is, because I don't think we'll have seen a punishment quite like that for a while.
And yeah, and I know that, like, obviously when Toto was interviewed in the back end of the Singapore Grand Prix, he had some quite strong words to say. I think he said that, like, he's had to make 40 people redundant, and like they've really had to restrict their budget and to stay within the cap. And for a team to go over that is insulting. Again, if it is Mercedes, that'll look
Yeah,
horrendous,
exactly.
look horrendous on him. We shall see.
Yeah, I mean they're the only ones that seem to be kind of pointing fingers a bit.
Yeah, I do have a point. I mean, to be from my perspective, Red Bull do look the obvious party, but you're right.
Yeah,
Toto has sort of had some strong words to say, where not many people are quite staying quite quiet on what's the outcome of it.
yeah, and I think Christian Horner has said, like, um, people are saying these kind of accusations, that they shouldn't be allowed to, that all of it's confidential. The fact that people should know, have an inkling of what it might be is wrong, and that there should be an inquiry into how people have found out this information when it's confidential. So it's an interesting political mess again.
Again,
That's what like, yeah,
F1 seems to always get in those situations.
exactly.
Also, big news from the F1. Pierre Gasly is joining Alpine next year. Um,
Yeah,
and
bit of a surprise.
Nick De Vries is joining AlphaTauri, so there's a bit of a switch up there. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's quite good. I mean, Gasly got potential. Still, he's a really good driver. De Vries going to AlphaTauri will be interesting because it's him and Tsunoda. I think that's an interesting
Pairing, yeah,
mix of two drivers because
yeah.
it's pretty much almost two rookies basically.
Mm.
So that would be interesting. Alpine and will be fine. I
Yeah,
think
that'll be fun. That'll be all good.
exactly. Who's the other
Alpine,
driver for Alpine?
hopefully they,
Ocon, that's one.
yeah, Ocon, yeah. Hopefully they can retain this pace to next year because
Yeah,
Alpine are quick, man. Alpine are quick.
yeah. Yeah, I think we're really good for Gasly as well. The only thing is, I'd like Hart. The only two seats left are Haas and Williams, and I don't think, for one thing, Daniel Ricciardo, I don't think will be in it either
Yeah,
of
well,
those seats.
he's come out today and I think in a couple of interviews and said that realistically, I don't think I'm going to have a seat next year.
What does he?
I think he said that I think what he said to a reporter, and I think also he said before that he wants to join a team that can compete if he's going to have if he
Yeah,
wants so. And realistically, are Haas and Williams going to compete next year? I don't think
no,
so.
exactly. I'm hoping that Mick Schumacher can retain his Haas seat.
Mm,
That's my hope because I don't want him to go to Williams because, well, I mean, to be fair, I think I don't know. They're both kind of equal in a way. Haas obviously have had a good season, but they haven't scored points, I think, in like the last six races or something.
yeah, like
Um,
they've got good pace at qualifying, but they seem to
yeah,
have DNFs or just seem to fall back in the actual race.
exactly. So I don't think it really matters if he gets in any of those. But interesting to see who takes Latifi's seat
Mm, that'd be
because I mean there won't be another because Albon's pretty sick. He's pretty good for them. It would be good to have another driver like Albon in the seat.
yeah, it'd
Or
be
a younger, maybe one of these new guys, one of these Americans or something
yeah.
like
There
Colton
was
Herta or something.
yeah, he was trying to get like a super contract or something, super like
Yeah, super license. Yeah,
I think that fell through though. Um,
yeah,
don't think it was granted to him, but yeah, it's interesting. I don't know who's going to end up where, but going back to Danny Rick, he's such a shame, man. If he actually doesn't compete next year, he's such a big character in the F1 scene, F1
yeah.
world, and
It'll be a weird year with him not there.
like
Yeah,
I think he said that he hopes to come back in 2024 if this is the case, if he doesn't have a seat. But how hard is it to get back into F1 after a sabbatical? He's not going to be just gifted a seat. Like it all depends on how well everyone does next year. Like
no, exactly. He's got to prove himself somewhere.
so, yeah, it's going to be
Yeah,
interesting. But because he's that big of a character, I can see him going into some sort of commentary, punditry kind of role. Do you know what I mean?
definitely,
Uh,
definitely. I think um, I think he'll probably do some more driving somewhere else.
mm,
Um, Maybe some American series or something like that, or even Australian. but yeah, I think in the future he's definitely got a commentary role
Yeah.
coming for him.
Before we wrap up F1, who do you think is going to win the Japanese Grand Prix? Who's winning it?
Verstappen.
Verstappen. Nice one. I'm going to go with
Verstappen in a Honda engine. Perfect.
like that. I'm going to go Leclerc, Verstappen second. Um, cricket, cricket news. The T20 World Cup starts soon, doesn't it, Sam?
I think so.
I think
I
it's
don't
like,
actually know when.
I think it's
November-ish.
no, I think it's a couple of weeks time. I think it might even be less than a couple of weeks time. I think it might be like next week. Um, wait, let me check this. Let me check this.
I suppose that would make sense not to have the Football World Cup at the same
Yeah,
time. That would
true.
make sense.
T20 World Cup, 16th of October. That is
Oh, Sunday. Jesus.
that is next Sunday. Buzzing. First game is Sri Lanka versus Namibia. So,
What a game.
so what a game. So we'll keep an eye on that. We'll bring in any big news from that over the coming weeks. I also did see that Jofra Archer is preparing to get ready to return to cricket in January, so that'd be exciting to see him back. Um,
Uh,
so
a short burst of kind of playing so well, and then it's kind of gone downhill again.
yeah, I feel
His
bad
injury. Yeah.
for him, man, because he's such a good talent, but he has injury problems, and the past like 2 or 3 years, it's just been ruled out through injuries. And I think there's also a Pakistan England Test series in December, which would be sick. I'm looking forward to it. Looking
Yeah,
forward.
in the Pakistan England T20 series that just went on, all 7 games, most of them are crackers. Like, and for a T20 series, best of 7, literally goes to the last game.
Last game, yeah, so sick.
Very much. So I think it's good. It was very good to see, and Pakistan have really good players.
Mate,
So they'll be a force this
yeah.
in the World Cup.
Baba Azam, Shahid Afridi, they're so good, man. They're such a good team. And I think obviously what's happened politically in Pakistan, it's nice to see that teams are able to go and play in Pakistan now and they've got home support. I think that's quite good. Uh,
Yeah,
because I know that it's been quite a long time since teams have been able to go there and play. Um, but yeah, that should be interesting. Boxing, there was a bit of boxing drama this week because of the whole Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn fight. Have you heard about it? Yeah, what's going on?
Ben, and then he was. I thought he was reportedly he was being allowed to fight still.
Yeah, it was like he got tested, drug tested, for I think it was like a fertility drug, supposedly. Um, but yeah, the fight was off. Then it was back on. All the promoters wanted it on, and then it was off again. I think it was a bit of a mess in the end, to be honest. Yeah, I think the British Boxing Board of Control called it off. So yeah, it's not going ahead, but yeah, they're doing some tests, more tests into what this supposed banned substance is. Um, and he could be in trouble if it's like if he doesn't fully explain
Yeah,
himself, which is a huge shock because
yeah,
it was tipped to be a massive fight. And I think what's also
yeah.
quite bad is that Chris Eubank had to cut a lot of weight for this fight. He dropped a hell of a lot, and for it
Wasn't
to
that 80% of his 60% of what he was or something?
it was a lot. It was a lot of weight. He was like starving himself, draining himself completely. For it to be cancelled like the day before,
Yeah,
it's savage on him.
no, just it's the worst. One of the worst things. I think he's got to be so disappointed that he's not able to fight, and that it's because of something so stupid at the same time.
Yeah, so stupid. But I just don't know how if how you can deny that. I think Conor Benn came out and said that I've never taken a banned substance. That's not me. But I don't know how you can deny that and then get caught. So we'll see what happens with that one.
I don't know. know how that happens either. You say, "Oh, I didn't take it." You're like, well, it was in your blood, so how did you not take it?
Yeah. But yeah, we'll see on that one. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all the big news from this week. Obviously, we'll cover some more stuff next week if we've got time. Do you have any heroes or shockers of the week? I've got a few, if you know.
Oh,
Also,
hero of the week is go for it.
I was just gonna mention that shocker at the NFL, the fan that had
Yeah,
the Green Bay Packers cheese head on, and he was wearing the Adam Thielen and then some Minnesota trousers as well. Massive juxtaposition there. I don't know what he was doing. Just
Where's the-
how do you explain that one? I don't get it.
exactly.
That's like
No,
Tottenham on the top half, Chelsea on the bottom.
literally. Um, yeah, absolutely disgusting scenes. I might actually tag that picture that you put up, like Pat McAfee and stuff. I want them to see it. Like, what is going on? But I think my hero of the week is going to be, I think, the the NFL posts at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium for making a great game.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Just not even a real thing, but
It saved the game in Sam's eyes. It was a bit boring in the first half, got better in the second half, but yeah, honestly, the posts just luck, mate, luck of the draw, man, absolute luck. My hero, did you see? I saw a clip on Twitter. Mark Williams, snooker legend. Did you see him doing a snooker trick? So he
no.
in a local snooker hall, some locals just filming him, and he was potting every color at the end. So you go from green to red to brown to blue to pink to black, and he potted every single one without moving his feet. He stayed in the same position at the table. It's nuts. It's actually nuts. He didn't move his feet at all. He just
That's
positioned the
ridiculous.
white
Do
ball.
that.
I don't know. He's crazy. So Mark Williams, shout out to you. Um, Absolute legend. And also, I've just seen on Twitter that um, he just played Djokovic in the
Oh,
tennis.
Medvedev.
He just quit. So
Yeah.
for
Well,
some
like
he
quit tennis.
no, not quit tennis, but he was playing
Oh,
Djokovic and he was
yeah,
a
he
step
retired.
down. Yeah, and he just
He
retired out of
retired in
nowhere.
the final. It's like they were one set all going to the final set, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm all right." I don't understand. I don't understand how that happens. There must be some reason, but because he
Yeah,
did, I think he lost the first set and then won the second. Yeah, but
apparently no
very
choice
odd.
pulled onto the pitch either. So it literally just looked like he just quit.
Yeah,
Proper unusual.
very weird. I've got to go now.
Yeah, that's it. I'm gonna lose against Djokovic anyway, so it's all right.
He's and texted him that she was home alone. You know those memes.
Yeah. Parents are in, home alone.
Yeah,
Gotta go.
but I've come over now. I've got to play Djokovic, but I'm home alone. I've got to quit tennis.
That's too fun. But yeah, that wraps up the podcast this week. Hope you enjoyed it and hope you enjoy the rest of the weekend sport. And then we'll probably catch you again next week. So in a bit, let's go.
Yeah.
See you later.